lots of songs myself, and I was also an actor, kind of comedian, traveling around the Swedish folk folks.
Does that mean that you stopped your schoolwork in 1960?
Yes.
I see.
So because I decided, since I had placed this song with the artist and I did all the work that a publisher normally should do, I decided to print the song myself, and all of a sudden I was in publishing business.
I see.
I built up the publishing operation here during the 60s, and at the end of the 60s we were one of the biggest, if not the biggest, publisher as far as pop music. The first time in the record history that somebody discussed things from this angle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, usually you always had made one deal with one company for all the world.
Mm-hmm.
So this was something new that I came up with, and that has been discussed very much ever after.
Yes.
But I think it's very simple thinking.
Yes. Well, yes, it's the most direct way to do it. Well, how did the individual record companies in the individual countries, did they handle the press and the radio play and things like that?
Yes.
They did that.
Yes, they did. But of course, we have always, already from the very beginning, been, so to say, been holding our hands on everything, and we have told them what to do and how to do it. At the same time, of course, we are listening to all our licensees, but we have very decided, because we think we know best what to do with our product.
I see.
But basically, they did this practical work, yes.
And they didn't. You didn't run into to people that wouldn't understand that you wanted something special with your product.
Well,
the DJs,
I think there were people who protested, not only our some record companies, but also all our music publishers, all our sub-publishers, as we say, in different countries. But you had to persuade them and just ask them to understand that we knew, because we had written the songs ourselves, we had recorded it, this was our own label, and this was also something that was very new to the industry, because if you, without comparing, take the Beatles for instance, they wrote the songs, but they didn't really control the publishing, nor did they control the records, because they were, as you know, at the EMI label.
Yes.
In our case, for the first time in history, you had 100% control over your product, because, as I said, you had composed songs, you had written the lyrics, you had arranged it, you had recorded it, and we were our own artists, and we had our own label.
Yes. Has your idea been followed now by other people?
No, not really. Well, there are artists who have their own publishing, but not the 100% as we have, because this is really the only case in the history of recorded music that this has happened. This has been very much, so to say, spoken of internationally.
Yes, I see.
This is something new.
Last year, I've noticed Michael Tretto, he mentions that last year the Polar business was voted as the #1 business of Sweden, right?
Yes, but only, you should remember, only if you compare the gross turnover to the profit.
Yes.
And percentage-wise, it means that on the what they call the working capital, we had a gain of 65%, which is, probably the most profitable in the world. If you compare. Right, but of course, money-wise, I mean, Volvo is doing much bigger profit, but then they have a turnover of like 2-3 billions or whatever it is.
Yes.
In order to make the profits that they make.
Can I ask you how much runs into your cashier?
Well, we had a turnover of like 100 million Swedish kroner, and the profit out of that was 65 million kroner.
Mm-hmm. Now the rest, 35 million, where did they disappear?
Well, 35 million, I mean, these are the costs that we have. I mean, we have a company now where we have like 40 people involved.
Oh, you have 40 people?
Right.
I see.
So it means that
yes.
everything else is that's cost.
Yes, right. and studio and things like that. That
yes.
goes with it.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. But does that mean that Polar employs around 40 people?
Well, by now, the whole organization, since we have, since we also are in other kind of business, like the art business, we are in the oil business, we are in financing and leasing. So by now I think we are a little bit totally over 50 people involved.
I see. Could you mention some of the